Coming up, reportedly, and we got to use that term reportedly, that's responsible journalism because it's not confirmed by the company, that Andrade has asked for his release from World Wrestling Entertainment, also known as WWE. I'm going to discuss that on this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Keeping it 100.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Keeping it 100. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. If you haven't done so, go ahead, hit the subscribe button right now. That way you will not miss an episode. And if you're on podcasting platforms and this is your first time, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, like the podcast, always show support. And then if you want to do it monetarily, you could do so by just going to buymeacoffee.com/wrestling realm. Appreciate everybody who tunes in and shows support for the show and for the brand. Let's get right to it. Reportedly, like I said at the top, reportedly, Andrade has asked for his release from the WWE. Folks, let's keep it 100. This isn't a surprise. So a lot of things unravel here, right? So I'm sitting here and I remember during this year, if you remember, as you know, unfortunately, it's been exactly a year since we've been in a pandemic. Over 500,000 lives lost. My heart goes out to them, most definitely first and foremost. Unfortunately, I know of some people that have lost their lives to COVID. And remember during this time a year ago, it was Andrade who was in a prominent spot. You know, if I'm not mistaken, he was flirting with the U.S. Championship. He may have won it at this time or may have lost it around this time. I know that he was a former tag team champion. I believe him and Cian had held the title briefly. But now, you know, he got suspended. And he just never bounced back. Now, if you want to go before that, I can remember when Angel Garza came to the main roster. And I saw this guy. I said, uh-oh, Andrade's in trouble. What do I mean? So I remember having this conversation with the real Dwayne Allen. And, you know, one of the things we talked about was you look at Garza, he had so much charisma. And when you see a guy like that who has so much charisma, it's obvious that WWE is going to do something with him, right? And you're like, man, it's just a matter of time. You know, all right, excuse me, wasn't a tag team champion. I thought he would be, but he wasn't. But, you know, it would only be a matter of time. Like, man, and then you see Andrade trying to, like, stay right there, right? And Andrade can wrestle, no doubt about it, right? No doubt about it. One of the best wrestlers in the world. But you look at everything that goes into a WWE superstar. Got to be able to wrestle. You got to be able to, you know, at least, even if you ain't the best wrestler, right? Because people will argue that The Miz isn't great. I think he's good enough. Miz knows his strengths and weaknesses. This is the reason why he's on WrestleMania, right? But his charisma, his popularity, or people don't like him, is enough to make you want them put him on TV. Andrade, can we be honest? Did you really miss him during his time? Now, like I said, you know, he would get suspended, storyline or whatever, and that's when you saw Garza just flourishing. Every time they was on TV together, you wanted to see what Garza was going to do, whether he was giving a rose to the lady, you know, annoying Zelina Vega, just getting on her nerves, getting under her skin because he's not seeming so focused. And I'm like, man, this guy's got it. This guy's got it. But to me, Andrade just never went to that next level. Now, this is a former NXT champion. wrestling's there, no doubt about it, right? Now, we all know the botch, that him and Aleister Black, somebody else who's in, sitting in catering, and people are not happy, but that's a different story. I'm not even going to touch on that one. But there was also reports that Andrade went to Vince McMahon and said, hey, I want a push. I want to be WWE champion. I want to be the guy. And they said Vince told him, go learn English. And then there was people showing, hey, he's learning English and he's doing all this, that, and the other. And I said, okay, that seems interesting. He's being proactive. Never doubt a man. I think it's cool. He's being proactive. He's being smart. Apparently, he's not being patient enough. Or maybe they ran out of patience with him. Now, I know a lot of people are upset. They feel like WWE, why sign him? WWE has an outdated way of thinking. And they said it can't be the English part because look at Asuka. I saw this in a couple groups. But here's the thing about Asuka. When you look at her, Asuka has charisma. Now, personally, and I might get heat for this, personally, I'm not entertained by Asuka outside of the ring. I'm only entertained when she puts on her matches, right? I feel like when I'm watching Asuka, I'm more invested in what the other person is going to do and seeing if that other person can beat her. But that's just me. It might not be the same for everybody else. I know a lot of people feel different, entitled to it. But for me personally, I'm more invested in Asuka inside the ring. And when it comes to the in-ring work, that's the same thing with Andrade. I'm invested in his in-ring work. Now, personally, also, truthfully, he'd probably be better on SmackDown. You see guys like Apollo Crews starting to open up a little bit more. You see Big E. SmackDown has the workhorses. Gulak, Daniel Bryan, Edge, all these guys over there, and tons of others. I mentioned Crews. All these guys over there, that's where it seems like the workhorses are. Where Raw has always seemed as if it's the more show for entertainment. Even with the Lucha Libres. I'm not a big Lucha Libre guy when it comes to the WWE style. I liked it in WCW. I watched the Cruiserweights, but even them, it's just like, okay, go out there, you do whatever. We all know Cruiserweight wrestling isn't the same as it was presented in WCW. But for Andrade to ask for his release, it's not a surprise. I know people say, oh, he'll go to AEW, whatever. Okay, maybe he will. Maybe he'll go back to New Japan. He is a former IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So who knows? Let's wait and see. But let's keep it real. It's not like a lot of people really miss him. It's not like people are saying, where is Andrade? We don't see signs, but I don't see a lot of tweets talking about where's Andrade. And we also got to be honest. When Angel Garza showed up, there's a thing when you out charisma your partner. Sometimes you work together, but then sometimes you're not keeping up. I'll give you a case in point. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. For a while, everybody was saying, oh, yeah, Martez is the Shawn Michaels and Angelo's the Mario Jannetty. But we started seeing them work together, and we started seeing personality out of both of them. We didn't see that with Garza and Andrade. And quite frankly, let's be real, he's hurting with Zelina Vega not being there. Now, how cool would it be for him to be paired with Charlotte? We all know they're engaged. And, how much pull does Charlotte have? She is, a lot of people said they're tired of seeing her on TV, whatever. She is a full horsewoman. You got to believe she has some pull. But this also go to show you maybe she doesn't have as much as you may think. Because at the end of the day, it is the WWE. It is Vince McMahon's company. And it is on American television. Now, Vince has his way of doing things as far as, way we believe from what we hear. He has his way of doing things and way of thinking. And it just seems as if Andrade doesn't fit the mold. Yeah, he can wrestle. And I wonder what would it be like if he had a crowd, right? Maybe he is somebody who can play his charisma off the crowd. I mean, we didn't see it much before, though, but who knows? Maybe that would have developed. So that's a lot of things. I mean, that's right there. You look back at everything that's happened during this pandemic, unfortunately, and, we're pretty much a year in with no fans. And you wonder, okay, what would it have been like if there would have been fans there? And the Thunderdome is cool, but let's be real. It's predetermined. It's pre-taped. They have more control over it than they've ever had before. So we'll see. I just wanted to hop on real quick and talk about that. Like I said, these are reports as I record on Friday afternoon right before WWE SmackDown. So we'll see. But folks, remember, you can support this podcast. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/WrestlingRealm. Drop us $5. That's all. Just $5. Whatever if you want to give more, we appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast on all podcasting platforms. Till the next time, folks, I'll see you later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. As always, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. That way you are notified every time we post new content. And make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. And follow me too at Brian H. Waters.